I'm waiting. There's one due soon. I've been waiting a while. I've just come from an office do. They have them every so often. Christmas and, well, just Christmas, really. Usually, they go for a local meal at the Harvester and then off to a disco. I make my excuses and head home after the surf and turkey. Kieran, he works in the post room, but he fancies himself as a bit of an events manager, suggested a big fundraiser for this year's seasonal revelries for a change. And with the chairman's blessing, apparently, sent an Evite to every member of the company, along with an RSVP return form and PayPal details for our ticket payments. All monies raised were to go to Tech Santa, so I could hardly refuse now, could I? Still, as JLP would say, things are only impossible until they are not. Yes. Wise words there from Jean-Luc Picard. Yeah. Well, not wanting to appear mean, I made my online transfer for £45. Yes, I know, £45. Personally, I'd rather stay at home with a good comic or an episode of Star Trek. The original series or Next Generation? Well, any really, except Enterprise. Ooh, no, doesn't really do it for me. I know what you're thinking. I'm not some sort of geek, you know. I'll quite happily leave the house for a film at the Cine World. Yeah. So long as it's sci-fi. Yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, the office do in aid of good old St. Nick. Well, I was going to pull a sickie, despite having forked out £45, but everyone in the office said, oh, don't be a party pooper, Chris. So I went, wearing the non-compulsory fancy dress. Well, kind of. To be fair, they've done it up very nicely. Lots of tinsel and paper chains. Oh, and Jack, Frosty to his friends, who's into that sort of thing, brought along a big ice sculpture of FC. That's Father Christmas. Who was balancing on a big square block. Apparently he should have been climbing up the side of a chimney, but he'd run out of time. No matter. As someone put him too close to the radiator and, well, past. Shouldn't be long now. Oh, Jen from HR, she brought her almost world famous cupcakes. Red velvet with vanilla icing topped with a big red mouth. Yeah, she's a very resourceful woman, is our Jen. I'm sure they were delicious. Lips smacking. I never got one. No. I was too busy trying to divert the catastrophe over by the radiator. William, or DJ Will I Ever, as he's known outside of work hours, brought along his decks and was spinning some tunes. Yeah. Pimp my bitch. I want to whip your cow. Oh, no. Along with the usual Slade and Wizard obligatories. Yeah, everybody was there, right from the top boss. Well, the next to top boss. The top boss had been detained. He gets out tomorrow at 10, apparently. Right the way down to Gladys, who's our sanitaries arrangement departmental operative. Yeah. Or Sado, as we lovingly called her. Sado. Yeah, she'd come as a hero, Hilda Ogden, and had accessorised with some rather fancy rubber gloves. Strange woman. Still, what do I know? I'll be happy to offer any advice I can give when it comes to understanding women. When I have some, I'll let you know. That's another one of JLP's, actually. Oh, Maisie, the new girl, came. She's very nice, but a bit shy. Didn't take her coat off either, but very helpful. Very helpful indeed, yes. Oh, sorry, back to the plot, yes. I'd asked Sado if she could kindly bring her mop and bucket over to help with the potential waterfall in the corner. She rather curtly declined, saying, "What? And get me special gloves dirty? Not likely, mate." I just needed to stem the overflow before it reached the dance floor and... I say dance floor. The small square cleared between the buffet cart and the coffee machine. I digress. Maisie, the new girl who was on the other side of the room, had also cottoned on to the impending doom and, aware of the ironic strains of wet, 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 feeling it in their fingers, she made a quick dash, collecting some kitchen roll, tea towels and paper napkins en route. Well, it was like one of those slow motion moments, but on warp speed. We only had moments to spare, and turning from my sadly unsuccessful plea with Gladys, I managed to, amongst disgruntled cries of, "Oi, what do you think you're doing? Get your hands off me mop bush!" to avail myself of her equipment before joining Maisie in an Olympic 100-metre dash across the dance floor. Alas, knocking some dancers flying just as they were commencing a rather tricky lift in their paso doble. Well, normally when this sort of thing happens, I help the victim to their feet, dust them down, apologise profusely. On this occasion, I didn't have a chance. I could see Santa's ample midriff disintegrating in front of my very eyes, his head having dissolved from what had started off as a very effective Starlink glint in his mince pies. You see what I did there? No, wasted. But was fast becoming a full-blown torrent of gushing tears, which, if we didn't get to in time, meant the dancers would quite literally be drowning in a sea of love. Oh, it's exciting. Still waiting. Do you think I've got time to pop back to the office to use the facilities? It's all this talk about water.
Oi! Mosh, what the hell do you think you're playing at?
Oh no, Sado! Oh, hello Gladys. How are you?
Well, to be honest with you, Chris, I feel sadly bereft.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can do to help?
Well, now you come to mention it, yes.
What?
Well, it's like this, you see. I've suffered a loss. A sad and tragic loss.
Oh dear, well that's the very worst kind of loss, Sado.
We've been together now for many years and I really can't imagine life without her.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that indeed, Sado. Oh, Gladys, I'm really sorry, Gladys.
So you can see how it might have come as more than a slight irritation when someone comes along and removes her from my side and forces her to undergo such terrible modus operandi way beyond her regulated absorbency toleration boundaries. Such atrocities the likes of which her sort ain't been subjected to since they was used to clear up the decks of the bloody Titanic.
I can see what you're saying,
And
but
then... And you won't believe this part of the sorry tale, ladies and gentlemen. And then, having been used in such a depraved and despicable manner, did they return her to her rightful place for some much-needed TLC from yours truly? Did they, Eckers like? No! The little sod ran off with her. Hand over me mop right now.
Oh, yeah, of course. But first, will you let me explain?
I'm not interested in your bleeding explanations, mate. Hand over me mop or you'll be seeing stars.
I was late. I had to run. I completely forgot I was carrying her. Now, you aren't going to hit me with that, Gladys, are you?
You hang around there much longer and you'll find out, mate.
Oh!
Come back here, you little toe-rag. You wait till I get through.
Stop woman, I'm an accountant.
Nearly 1:45. I'm waiting. It shouldn't be long now. I'm sure there's one due. My stars said, today is a day worth waiting for. So, here I am. Waiting. Again. I've done a lot of that. Waiting. So I'm used to it. It's been quite a day, actually. Oh, well, I started a new job last week. Oh, it's only data entry. Nothing too exciting. But you never know where it might lead. I've always believed in aiming for the stars. Still, you got to start somewhere down here on terra firma, don't you? And data entry is as good an entrance as any, I suppose. I quite like entering data as it happens. Who'd have thought? Well, I've got this thing about symmetry, you see. Everything being balanced and everything being neatly in its place. Do you know what I mean? So, entering numbers into 2 straight columns is right up my dual carriageway. But it's still early days. I did try to engage the girl next to me on my first day, but she wasn't interested in the concept of shape-shifting or how pointy ears might help enhance your hearing. It might have helped if I'd gone to lunch in the canteen with the girls. We might have gelled. But my mum's been poorly and I have to go home at lunch and make her a hot snack. What? What's that? Why don't you leave her a sandwich in the fridge and just give her a call on your mobile, I hear you ask? Well, Mother's a tad technophobical, and she's not one for a cold buffet. But I will bear it in mind, thanks. I had to stay late today for an office bash. And in the light of the less than ideal start with my pays, I thought I'd best make an appearance. I wasn't looking forward to it, to be honest. I'd much rather go straight home after work and get the tea on. Oh, just for myself and Mum's bingo night. She gets a rather unappetising hot dog sausage in a dry roll there in between books. Still, at least she can manage it, which is a blessing with her teeth. Or lack of them. Then I settled down to a couple of Star Trek reruns. The original series or Next Generation. They're my favourites. But I thought, no, it's a new job. You've got to make a good impression. So I took along my favourite outfit. Got to change into it in the loo after work. So, but then I decided. Anyway, some of the others really got into the swing of the thing. Sasha looked gorgeous in her gold leggings and zebra print. Apparently, she was someone from TUI? And Kieran from the boss room who'd organised the event looked, shall we say, interesting. I'm not sure what he'd come as, but it takes all sorts, doesn't it? Carrie, the girl next to me, she said her outfit wasn't original and had been worn by Mandy Dingle in Strictly a few seasons back. First episode, I think. She got it to Phoebe. I made my way into the canteen, which had been done up very nicely, or so people were saying as they entered. I don't know many of the staff, but I did recognise Jack from IT. Sasha had had dealings with him earlier that day. Anyway, that's another story. But apparently, He has very cold hands. Chris from accounts was there too. I don't think he dressed up, but he didn't take his coat off, so I couldn't really tell. I sidled over to the nearest seats closest to the door and settled down on my own. For a change. After a few tunes, well, I say that in the loosest of terms. Pimp my cow and I want to whip your bitch. Things did improve slightly with a Marty Pellow classic. Then up pops Carrie from the office. Oh, you know, the one with the... Anyway, her and her partner are really good. Well, better than I would be. She looked great in her celebrity dress. Although, I'm not convinced of its authenticity. I mean, she only bid $11.73 for it, including postage and packaging. I like people watching. It's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, some people do the funniest things, don't they? Like earlier, Chris from accounts, he's always very helpful. Well, I was watching him over the other side of the canteen, having a nice little chat with the cleaning lady, when out of the corner of my other eye, I noticed something very peculiar occurring over the other side of the room. There was a large transparent St. Nicholas next to the radiator, and his head was beginning to dissolve. I glanced back at Chris, who was looking very agitated and appeared to be pleading with the cleaning lady. And back to the poor Santa, who was blubbering. His chubby cheeks and ample chest were moving south, closely followed by his belly, which shook and it wobbled like a bowl full of jelly. I'd have to do something logical panto. I mean pronto. A quick peek to the kitchen hatch on my left revealed a wholesale kitchen roll, a pile of tea towels and several packs of serviettes, next to a plate of very bright red cakes. But would I have time? I hurried over and grabbed the provisions, and at the same time Chris took a sidestep and went for the mop and bucket against the wall to his right. Then, as if in the wink of an eye, that's the famous Star Trek episode, original series, season 3. You know, don't you? Yeah. Well, where invisible, time-accelerated aliens attempt to take over the Enterprise and attempt to abduct the crew, and everyone on the bridge appears to be moving in slow motion. But actually aren't. No. Well, just like that, we both strode side by side across the dance floor to tackle the enemy on the other side. I made it to the combat zone first, as Chris got waylaid. It was murder on the dance floor. Well, and Carrie was not amused when he halted her triple Salco in its tracks and brought her back to earth with a bump, which she followed with an almighty thump, poor Chris. By then I had utilised all of the tea towels and most of the serviettes, but the deluge kept coming. We had sadly lost St. Nick, who was now streaming his way across the laminate flooring. But fear not, the hero of the hour arrived on the scene in the nick of time, and mop in hand he swept into action. Oh, it was so exciting. Great to explore whole new worlds, isn't it? What a day!
Oh, yes, indeed.
Well done on saving the dance floor, by the way.
It was a joint effort. I couldn't have done it without you.
Or that mop.
Don't mention the mop.
And we did rescue Carlie's dignity, even if she didn't appreciate it in that particular time continuum.
It's a serious game, this dancing lark. You know.
No, No, I don't actually. I always wanted to learn, but...
Never had a partner?
No. I've been waiting for the right one to come along. You?
Me too.
I knew there was one due.
Yeah. Long overdue.
My stars said, today is a day worth waiting for.
And logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end.
Ah, good old Spock. God rest his soul.
So you're a follower then?
Oh, yes. Been a Trekkie most of my life. Don't usually tell people, though. You?
Same. Well, at least not on a first date. Shall we? Second star to the right and straight on to morning.
Let's see what's out there. Beam us up, Scotty.
Space, the final frontier.